I don't know how much you know, Colin, and I don't know whether you want me to start by just sharing an overview and answering questions, or how would you like to proceed, Catherine and Colin?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. So MarriageTeam was blessed that Communio decided to include us in your full circle ministry model. And as such, we are focused on, from Communio's perspective, marriages in need. We do marriage coaching, but we also have a premarital coaching program as well. Marriages in need, couples that need help can be referred to MarriageTeam. We do an intake process because everybody that's struggling isn't a good candidate for coaching. Abuse, addictions, mental health issues, which includes depression and ongoing affairs, don't respond well to coaching. So there are trained professionals that do a much better job in helping couples that are facing those circumstances. So we will do a screening with the couple to make sure that they're good candidates for coaching. And then we give them the Prepare and Enrich inventory. And then we will place them with a coach couple. There is a fee for the service. The fee is currently about $20 an hour. So that's $400 for a married couple. And the program is typically 12 sessions, couple hours a session. So that's sort of based on a minimum of 20 hours, and the extra hours just get thrown in for what the couple needs. We do we do not deny services for financial reasons. So we will work with a couple to make sure that they can get the services if finance would be the barrier. But what we find is that full scholarships do not work very well, because if people don't have skin in the game, they don't take it very seriously.
Yeah. And
the coaches can't make them change, so they needed to be committed to the process and see the value in it. So in order to provide the coaching services, we equip Christian couples to be the coaches. So we're unique in the country, I believe, in that we train Christian couples to be coaches. We provide them the materials. We screen the couples. We do the placement. And then we're a consulting service for coaches. And even sometimes we see experienced coaches will run across an issue and they'll call for help, and we'll brainstorm with them and help them to figure out what they're seeing, what they're sharing, and brainstorm an approach to try and get the couple unstuck so they can move forward. We've been doing that for 20 years. So we've got a lot of experience and have seen a lot of different situations. So that's one of the values added that we bring to the marriage coaching is we have a small team, but we strive to be absolutely professional and to provide timely service. If people call, text, or email us, if it's the same day, we'll call them right back. And we always get back to them by the next day. So we are, our goal is to make the coaches successful, and in the process to help the church be successful and to take the load, Colin, off of the priest and the parish staff, in order to give them a program that is easy for them to use, because basically they just do the triage. Somebody will come to you and you'll listen to the situation and say, yeah, I think marriage coaching could help. And you make a referral. Mm-hmm. And if we can't help them, we will let you know what's going on and brainstorm with you on better resources to meet their need. If you have a coach couple that's been trained and you would like us to place that couple with a particular couple, we're more than happy to do that, because you know the people better, and we're more than happy to facilitate that. But that keeps you out of the middle of the process of having to call them, having to do the follow-up to make sure that they can get it, sending them the inventory for all of the administrative stuff that goes along with it. You don't have to worry about it. We will keep you involved to the degree that is going to be suitable for you. So I've done some nonstop talking. What questions might you have?
What does the inventory look like as far as like breadth and depth, and like, is it is it similar to like a pre-Cana sort of inventory as far as like a number of statements that they agree with, disagree with, that kind of thing? Or is it, yeah, just tell me more about that.
It's very similar to focus and refocus. And as a matter of fact, my understanding is that in the early years, focus and refocus was, based on, to a large extent, the thoughts and the process and everything that was being done by Prepare and Enrich. Back in those days, it was all paper copy. Now it's all done online. So it makes it really easy for couples to take it and then to make sure the coaches get a PDF copy. There's probably about 100 and, couple hundred statements and some demographics as well for people to respond to. It covers the core. Is somebody trying to get in? No, I guess not. It covers the core relationship skills of communications, conflict resolution, partner style and habits, sexual relationship, family and friends, roles and responsibilities, and spiritual beliefs. And then there's some special scales for forgiveness. If the couple happens to be multicultural, there's a multicultural aspect that they can check, and then they'll get a series of questions about, multicultural issues or intercultural issues. It is in the training, we teach coaches how to use the inventory and how to read it. So we teach them the important things, and the important things really come up to be relationship dynamics. So it will identify up front before you ever meet with a couple, which one is assertive, which one is self-confident, which one avoids conflict, and which one feels dominated. So you get a sense of the dynamics so that when the couple presents to you, the coach doesn't have to see it 3 or 4 times to understand there's a pattern there. They're aware of the pattern, and then when they see it, they can call it pretty quickly, which just gives them immense credibility in the eyes of the couple, because wow, they saw that right away, but they have that tool to help them sort through some of those dynamics.
Gotcha. Do you find with couples that you've worked with or that your coaches have worked with, does it generally happen that one or the other of the couple in crisis, for lack of a better word, is the one who comes to you, or do they usually come to you together? I guess what I'm driving at is it usually the husband or the wife feels the need and kind of has to convince the other person, or they usually come and they've already agreed that they need coaching and help, and they come as a unified front?
Yeah. First of all, we only coach when they're both there, because you can't coach one without the other one there, because the coaching process is about teaching skills and helping couple apply the skills. So the coaches will teach the good listening and how to use I statements, but then people don't use them. I mean, they know them, but they're not integrated into their habits and their behavior. Mm-hmm. So when the wife is talking and the husband says, "But honey, that's not what happened," and so wait a second, what did you understand your wife to say? So they're not going to allow it to go back and forth. The listener's job is to listen until the speaker feels totally understood. So it's that application of those skills. When people start to learn them and use them, they see results in the relationship, because now they feel understood. And once they understand one another, they're in a much better position to come to a solution that's going to work for them. Part of understanding that, Colin, is the analogy that we use. You and your wife were born onto different teams, and that was your family of origin. You developed a playbook for life based on what worked in your family, how you saw people handle conflict, communications, all that stuff, plus your own personality, family expectations. You get married, you create a new team, you bring your own playbooks, and you don't share it. Mm-hmm. So it isn't like that you're right or wrong, but you're different. And over time, those differences really cause problems. So an example of a play that my wife brought into our relationship, and she shares in the training, was that if I loved her, I would know what she needed and wanted. So when I saw her being angry and I said, "Honey, what's wrong?" the mere fact that I had to ask showed that I really didn't care about her. Okay. So she would say nothing is wrong. And I would say, "Great, I'm a dumb guy. That's fine." And I'd go about my business, which only proved to her even more that I didn't love her and care for her. So you can see how those kind of dynamics, they're unwritten, people are unaware of them, and they're patterns we call old plays that just over time destroy a relationship. So coaches provide a mirror that can reflect that back to a couple for their evaluation and understanding so they can figure out what they want to do differently. Now, the question that you asked was, what happens when one feels the pain and the other one doesn't so much? And that's quite often the situation. So what we will do is we'll talk to the spouse that wants the help, and we will help them brainstorm ways that they can share with their teammate on the value of coaching. And some of the things that are really important, especially for guys, coaches do not give advice. We are not going to tell you what you need to do, and we're not going to blame you. Remember, it's two different playbooks. It's not right or wrong. So there's no blame, and it's about helping to understand and teaching skills. And most guys, if you tell them how to fix a problem, man, they're on it. They want to fix it. So you're giving them the tools to fix the problem and the issue. And, after the very first session, when they all of a sudden the lights go on and they feel understood because their teammate really listened to understand as opposed to listen to be defensive or whatever, they start to see things are changing. And, it's just it's been amazing to see how the Lord has blessed this approach and how people relationships are healed.
Yeah. How many couples do you guys have in your bullpen coaching couples?
Yeah. Over the years, we've trained about 700.
Oh, wow.
35 of them have been in Eastern Central Europe with a missionary organization over there. We currently have about 150 that are active. And if Communio were to come online, if all 70 or 80 churches at Communio were to come online and start referring couples, we would need to train more coach couples. Mm-hmm. So this is, part of the deal. If you wanted to refer a couple, you don't need to have coach couples trained in order to refer a couple. But if you're going to be using it a lot and referring a lot of couples, then we would ask that you would identify some couples to be equipped as coaches. And that way, when you refer people, they could actually be coached by somebody, in the parish, mm-hmm. as opposed to somebody, on the East Coast, West Coast, or someplace else.
Gotcha. So we could start using it now. And if it got to the point where it looked like we had a lot more couples coming forward than we expected, then we would need internal coaches. But if we had a couple step forward next week, we could refer them to somebody who you already have available.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you could refer, my guess is that there are some people in the parish that really would like to have a ministry together, would like to work together, and really, the people especially involved in the premarital program, and you called it the pre-Canaan program.
That was just kind of my general term for it. But yeah, we have a really robust marriage prep program. I think one of the better ones in the diocese. Mm-hmm. And I would have to talk to Father Brian, our pastor, and other priests and see, kind of get a gauge on how many couples they meet with that are in need of coaching or, relationship help that would be kind of candidates for this. Because I don't know of many right now, but that doesn't mean they're not out there. So this would obviously require some internal dialogue on our part, but mm-hmm. I think it sounds like a great program. Yeah.
So if there were people that were involved in that premarital program that would like to broaden their skills to be able to work with couples that might be struggling, mm-hmm. we could equip them. And there are two trainings coming up. One is March 19th and another starts on April 23rd. Now, those trainings are 2 weekends, 24 hours. So in the course of the training, couples practice the coaching skills in a real situation with another couple 5 different times. So it's one thing to explain the coaching process and what the skills look like. It's another thing to demonstrate it for them. But it's like, explaining to you how to ride a bike, demonstrating that I can ride a bike, and then say, okay, get on it and ride the bike. And, when you're talking about skills that involve thinking, doing, following through, observing, all of that integration to be a good coach couple, it requires some practice.
Sure.
So we give people that practice so that they have all coached 5 couples by the time they finish. And 95% of the people that complete coaching say they believe they've been equipped to coach another couple.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, since I'm the only one here's someone else is actually here now.
Yep.
I know her.
She just rang in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was finishing up another call. So just at the last minute, I scooted in.
Thanks for hopping in.
Small world here in Denver. We all know each other. That's all the questions I have. I'll definitely take this back and kind of present it to our priests and staff and just put out there that it's available, and we'd love to participate. I don't know where it'll go as far as how much need there is for it at this time, but I appreciate the time you spent walking through it with me.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. Yeah, the website is MarriageTeam.org. So there's a place where people can request a coach couple right on that. And there's also a tab that says become a coach couple, and they can sign up for the training.
Great.
And currently the training is free. So we equip people to be volunteers and work with MarriageTeam. I mean, they're serving your parish and the Denver community, and we equip them and support them with materials and that consulting if they run into any issues or anything, in order to help them to be effective and to effectively make the parish look good with respect to marriage ministry and success.
Gotcha.
One of the things we track results pretty closely. People that go through the coaching program, we ask them to rate their coaching experience versus their counseling experience versus books and seminars. People rate their coaching experience 9.1, and they rate their counseling experience 4.0.
Oh, wow.
And I think the difference is that coaches teach skills, but head knowledge isn't sufficient for change. They take that knowledge, they create understanding, and then they help couples make specific agreements on what they want to do differently to get different results. And it's only when the behavior changes because they're following through on their agreements that then the feelings change, because they're seeing different things that they weren't seeing before. And part of that is creating the mutual accountability for the change. So let's say, Colin, you agreed to listen without being defensive. My guess is you're not married, but I don't know.
I'm married and I have 4 kids.
Good. Okay. So then you'll resonate with this. So you make an agreement to listen to your wife without being defensive. But, she starts saying something, you say, but honey, I did. And you start going on like that. And she's immediately seeing that you're being defensive. And it turns her off, and she doesn't even want to talk to you anymore, because she can never have a conversation. You can see how those things go downhill pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Well, part of the accountability is the coaches would ask you, say, Colin, you've just agreed to listen without being defensive, but it's really hard to adopt new habits. So if you start to sound defensive to your wife, how would you like her to remind you that you have a new agreement about how you're going to listen? And you need to come up with the words that are going to be words that encourage you to do something different and not make you ticked off. Because before the coaching, your wife might say something like, or my wife might say something like, I really hate it when you don't do that. You never follow through, and then we're off to the races again with another, argument that's headed downhill. But if she were to use my words, which sound something like, honey, I know you're trying, because I like to get credit for trying. But, it's sounding defensive to me. Could we start over? If she says that, I'm all in. I said, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. What did you want? And I, put on my listening ears and, start over. So it's that kind of dynamic, how we're teaching the couple to be mutually accountable for the changes they want. And I think that in counseling, that's often what's missing in counseling. The counselor shares information, they give them some ideas, but they don't get crystal clear on what they're going to do. So the next day they fall back into their playbook and they're operating just the way they always have.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, other questions, or, what can I do? Would it be helpful, Colin, to have some information, some handouts that talk about marriage coaching?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. That would be great. I think you mentioned there was like a business card even or something like that we could keep at the parish office. Thank you,
Great.
Alan. Really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Glad to be of service. And if you have other people that need information and want to talk, I'd be happy to do that.